Hi, I'd like to tell you how I wrote the song She's Doing Well, How About You? Because I know that some of you are interested in the process of songwriting, and this is how I do it. First of all, I use Cubase, that's the program I use on my computer, and I write to that. I tend to write on the guitar and also on the keyboard. I'll just play you the first section of the song. You probably noticed at the very beginning, if you listen, that there's a sh noise, which is a couple of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So on the fourth beat of the second bar. It sounds like a cymbal. It is a cymbal, but I put it there for a reason. You may be interested to know why. And the reason is that when I started singing, there was a lot of sibilance, like I'm doing now, on the word she. And I couldn't get rid of it. I tried to get rid of it by reducing the frequency, bringing it down and making it not so toppy. And I couldn't do it. So what I did was I put a cymbal over the top of the word sh, so that for people who listen to the song, they won't notice the sibilance. Can't say. Right, I'm going to talk about how I wrote the verse. As you probably remember, it goes, it's a bit like a 12 bar. Originally it was, I ran into Jake down at the Texaco. He said, I heard your little girl on the radio show. She's got a new place down in San Jose. Drives Santa Fe. It's got places everywhere. drives a Mustang. How she bakes a souffle. Well, I thought that was a bit corny. I could have gone. Which is the verse, how it would be, but I thought I wanted to make it more interesting, so I went from the B to a D, like that. So it goes, I ran into Jake down at the Texaco. He said, I heard your little girl on the radio show. And then I went to, instead of going from the back to the B, I went to this chord, which is, you guitarists among you will know that's a Jimi Hendrix chord. It's a chord that Jimi Hendrix uses a lot. Like that. And I thought that was more interesting. It just took you away. It took you away from the idea of the 12 bar. So I did that. And that chord is a Chuck Berry chord, and it's also, it's the same one as the Beatles used. Whenever I want you around, yeah. It's a nice chord, diminished chord, augmented chord, diminished. So I use that there. So the whole thing is just in B. And then the Jimi Hendrix. Which I thought was more interesting. I'd just like to take a moment to ask you if you kindly like and subscribe my video. I think if you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe. I don't think you can subscribe on Facebook, but if you could do any of those things, it really helps me. Thank you very much. I'd like to talk about the jangly guitar. You probably noticed there's a kind of jangly guitar. So the way I played that, if you're interested, is it's in G. It was this. It like that. So it's like that. To the B. So G to B, which is all it does. But I thought that was very effective. It's a kind of Chet Atkins, Jerry Reed type lick. So the only open string is an E string, but it gives it that nice. So I'll just play it once more. It's, oh, sorry. Like that. I just thought want to talk a little bit about the bass. When I wrote the bass, it was very straightforward. It was just well, I ran into Jake down at the Texaco, and it was just like that. That's all I did, and then I made it more elaborate. But then I made this bass riff, which reminded me of California Girls, although it's a different song and a different tempo. But it was the idea of, well, East Coast girls, I really dig those, and it was the bum ba 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 bum. So I wanted to write that as a riff, and by a riff, if you don't know, it means a repetitive piece of music, because in pop songs like this, you need repetition simply so that people can latch onto your song and understand it, and they know where to dance and when to stop dancing. So I just play. This is the bass I wrote. There's actually 3 basses playing there, but that's that's the main thrust of the song. I originally started with this bass, and then it just didn't seem to be powerful enough in the song. So I added 2 other basses, left and right, playing exactly the same thing. So you've got a bass in the centre, giving a stereo, which is this, and then I put left and right. I put the other ones, which are that one and the other one, that one. So that's how I did the bass, and that's pretty much the theme through the whole of the through the whole of the song. That's the theme. I'd like to talk a bit about how I put the guitar solo together. I tend not to improvise guitar solos anymore. I tend to work them out because I do think they are an integral part of the song. They're not just. I haven't improvised for a long time, and I tend to write melodies when I can. So I think it's quite a melodic song solo. I'll just play you what I'm talking about in case you don't know where it is. Yeah, listening to it now, I can hear a lot of influences, which, when you write these things, you don't realise where your influences are coming from. But the first thing that strikes me is it's very like Amos Garrett, that sort of sound. If you know what Amos Garrett is, he did the solo on Midnight at the Oasis. So I wanted a clear sound. I didn't want any effects on it because I don't really like effects. And I think I played it with my finger or thumb without a plectrum. I think I played it like this. Like that. And then it was, yeah. Yeah. And that bit, which is just part of the chord of, where are we? E. Reminded me again of Jimi Hendrix. It was like in Jimi Hendrix, if you know anything about his guitar playing, in Castles Made of Sand, he did a lot of this. And that was, it's not similar, but in my head it was. And the last part, that reminding me of Peter Green in Man of the World, Can't do it, and do it again. Not very well played by me, but actually I don't think that's played by Peter Green, it's actually played by Danny Cohen, I think. But it's that very subtle ending the note, not every note is attacked in the same way, and I was trying to do that by just doing hammer-ons at the end. It's a small thing, but it was important to me. So that's how the guitar solo goes. Oh, and the other bit, the reason I did that was I had nothing to play over that Jimi Hendrix chord I told you about at the beginning. It was very difficult to write anything that made any sense over there, so I just played the... And also I said over there, she's doing really well. And I put that in to cover the fact that I didn't know what to play on the guitar solo at that bit. And I thought it would distract you again. So a lot of this is sending you in another direction. But actually you can't hear it very well, but that's what I say there. I said, she's doing really well. And that's how I made the solo. So I hope that was of interest to some of you, and you can see how I put the song together and the process that I go through to do it. It's quite a lot more complicated than that, but it gives you a view of how I think every part of the song should be taken seriously and thought out rather than just slamming it down. But then my theory or my principle is that once it's there, that's it. You can't change it. So it has to be the best you can make it. And if you want to find out more about me, find me, Pete Davies, on YouTube, Davies. And my song, She's Doing Well, How About You, is on there from the 13th of June. So this is the song we've talked about. Go and find it and have a listen. And also I've got another series on there, which you'll find under my name. And that is, it's called Letters from the Lounge. And this is highly amusing, I think, review of some of the letters that have been written to me by my fans and all the problems and interesting snippets of information they have and things that have come up in their lives, and I hope you enjoy that too. Do follow me and like and subscribe. Pete, thank you.